Hey guys, it's Mandles, here to ask which Pokemon is the very best. Like no one ever was.
Oh my god, you suck! That was terrible!
But we're not talking about just any Pokemon today, we're talking about those found exclusively in good old Generation 1. This is the first part of a 6-part series where I analyze each Pokemon from each generation to determine which were the most overpowered at the time. And what better place to start than the wonderful, yet horribly broken, red, yellow, and blue version. Be sure to stay tuned for the following videos pertaining to the later gens as they will be uploaded very soon.
Stop plugging your and get on with it!
Alright, let's roll the video. Here's the top 10 overpowered Pokemon of Generation 1. Number 10, Dragonite. Up first is the only dragon Pokemon that existed in Generation 1, so you'd hope that it would at least be a good one. Good news, it is! Dragonite, while still very viable to use, was also a powerhouse back in the days. The only dragon move back then was Dragon Rage, but let's face it, that move is worthless against anything higher than level 20. Fortunately though, Dragonite doesn't need that garbage, and instead utilizes a very diverse move pool as well as the infamously broken move Wrap. It would keep you immobile and unable to do anything for 2 to 5 turns as opposed to just damaging you. This allowed Dragonite to use agility in the meantime, which, in turn, made him an incredibly powerful sweeper. Also, it's rivaled only by Mew for highest base stat total in the game, which really says something about this Pokemon's potential. Number 9, Rhydon. Up next is a bulkier Pokemon, but don't let his wall capabilities fool you. Rhydon is also capable of horn drilling you out of existence with his awesome 130 base attack. Sure, he can't take a special attack, but he is one of the few competitively viable Pokemon that can take a physical attack. And really, he's only vulnerable to the likes of grass and water Pokemon. Sending out an electric or flying type to fight this rocky unicorn monster is basically begging yourself to get murdered. All it'll take is a rock slide or earthquake and you're as good as done. You could say that his speed is where Rhydon's weakness lies, but hey, what good is outspeeding him if he can tank most attacks anyways? And you know what? Screw that. You want to outspeed with a Rhydon? Chances are you will if you run Body Slam on this Pokemon, which gives you a good chance of paralyzing your poor foe. Any way you look at it, Rhydon is good utility and earns his title of Overpowered. Number 8, Jolteon. Back in my day, we didn't have them fancy schmancy fairy type evolutions. We had 3 to choose from and one of them was horrible. But if you were smart and went with Jolteon, chances are that good times were ahead of you. Jolteon was debatably the best electric type in Gen 1 and could outspeed everything except for Electrode. Jolteon was superior to Electrode though in the fact that Jolteon has an outstanding special stat. What it also had, just like many fast Pokemon, was the speed affecting crits exploit, thus giving it a very high critical hit ratio. Sure, the Pokemon is kinda limited to Thunderbolt, and that won't hit everything super hard, but to most things it will do substantial damage. And luckily, when facing a rock-type foe that knows Earthquake, you can always pump out a double kick, which will no doubt do a good amount of damage as a last-ditch effort, especially if you land a critical. And chances are, with a Jolteon, yeah, you will land that critical. Number 7, Chauncey. Coming up next is the Pokemon that is widely known as being made of 100% raw concentrated HP. Seriously, the amount of HP that Chauncey has is, well, it's a lot. And yeah, that's not news to all you meta fans, but what you may not know is that Chauncey also used to have a good amount of special attack due to Gen 1's special stat mechanic. If you didn't know, Gen 1 combined the special attack and special defense stat into one stat, which meant that Chauncey was as bulky as well as it was a ferocious attacker. And for some reason, these normal types were able to learn a plethora of attacks ranging from Blizzard to Thunderbolt, which no doubt complements Chauncey's once immense special attack. The status moves that this Pokemon can learn are also awesome, as Chauncey can pack Thunder Wave and Soft Boiled. Your only chance of taking out this blob of hit points is by using a physical attack, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. Number 6, Slowbro. Slowbro. It's been a bumpy ride for this guy in the metagame. He's seen a wide range of tiers, but never has he been more powerful than when he was available in Generation 1. Well, except maybe with the exception of Mega Slowbro, but enough about him. Kill me! What makes Slowbro truly special, and I don't mean special in the way that you're thinking, is his ability to use Amnesia. Now, I know what you're thinking. Amnesia? What a mediocre move. Yeah, you may think that without knowledge of Generation 1, but did you know that Amnesia used to raise not only your special defense by 2 stages, but also your special attack? Absolutely broken. Slowbro already has good regular defense, all he needs now is a couple of amnesias and he becomes fit to take on the world. And sure, the poor guy is slow, again, not in the way you're thinking, but that just doesn't matter when the rest of your stats are really solid. Number 5, Alakazam. It's no secret that Psychic types had the upper hand in Generation 1. Dark types didn't exist, and there were no true Ghost type moves that were good against them, and Bug types didn't have much to deal with them either. So, that being said, Alakazam absolutely ran rampant in these games, scooping out his enemies' eyeballs with his spoons of death. And going back to the ludicrous special stat, this caused the Pokemon to be a special defense wall as well as a sweeper, which is really weird if you think about it considering how squishy the Pokemon is nowadays. And I know I keep bringing it up, but high speed meant a high crit ratio. A high crit ratio meant insanely deadly stab psychics. As if this weren't enough, the Pokemon can utilize some of the greatest status moves in the game, such as Thunder Wave, Reflect, and Recover. It's really hard to argue that a Pokemon this versatile isn't overpowered. Number 4, Tauros. Does the thought of an angry bull send shivers down your spine? Sure it does. What about the thought of an angry Generation 1 Tauros? It f***ing should! Tauros is a terrifying Gen 1 Pokemon to face off against for a number of reasons. One scary feature is how balanced this bull is. A weakness can't be found in any of Tauros' stats, and his normal typing makes him hard to hit with any other type in the game, with the exception of fighting. There's a few Pokemon that outspeed Tauros, but typically the ones that do have very low defenses, which is a feature that Tauros can really abuse. And this abuse is usually pulled off with stab hyper beams and body slams. I shouldn't have to explain why that would give people nightmares. Another sweet feature of his is the amount of type coverage Tauros offers. Since Tauros is a normal type, it can learn many different moves as previously demonstrated with Chauncey. Clearly, Tauros is extremely hard to counter, which trust me, does make him overpowered. Number 3, Snorlax. Along with Psychic types, normal types really had it good back in the day. Most fighting types weren't too good to begin with, which meant that a good amount of normal types were capable of facing off against pretty much whatever they wanted. Except for these 3 ghost types, that is. Snorlax was easily one of the best normal types in the game, packing Stab Hyper Beam as well as Body Slam, which had a 30% chance to paralyze, which allowed him to bring the opponent down to his speed level. But hey, what's speed when you have a mountain of HP and a really good attack stat? Oh, still not satisfied? Don't worry, I got this. Snorlax also has, wait for it, Amnesia. With that move, this guy is pretty much set, cranking up his ordinarily low special stat to insanely high numbers. Another good utility move of Snorlax's that I should probably mention is Self-Destruct. You just say the word and Snorlax will blow up your enemy to kingdom come. Number 2, Mew. A lot of the previous Pokemon that I mentioned were versatile, but when it comes to true versatility, you can't get any more flexible than the amazing Pokemon that was Mew. That is, assuming you could glitch a Mew into your game. Stupid frickin' truck, all you're full of are lies! Anyways, the most notable feature of Mew's is its ability to learn any TM move in the game. This gives you the option to make Mew an all-out attacker, status support, or potential sweeper. And the fact that all of Mew's base stats are the same at a solid 100 further promotes the fact that it straight up does not matter what moves you teach this guy. He's got the defense to be defensive, attack to be an attacker, and speed to be, well, speedy. With so many ways to craft Mew, I guarantee that there is a set to counter every single other Pokemon back then with this legendary Pokemon. Before unveiling number 1, here's a few Pokemon that I considered adding to the list, but I found didn't quite make the cut. Persian. It lands a critical hit almost 100% of the time it uses Slash. Starmie. This psychic water type hits like a truck. Victory Bell. Debatably the best grass type in the game. Golem. In many regards is very similar to Rhydon. Gengar. This beloved ghost type has been a good battler for a long time. All 3 legendary birds. They're pretty tough, but can be countered by many others. Number 1, Mewtwo. Of course, the one that everyone saw coming, number 1 is in fact the monumentally strong Mewtwo. Referring back to Alakazam, psychic types were straight up OP. So what happens when you take a psychic type and pump it full of the most amazing stats in the game? Mewtwo happens, and by God is it a marvelous sight. There's nothing bad I can say about Gen 1 Mewtwo. Every stat of its is outstanding. Typically, all you'll need to do is use a stab psychic, and that'll be enough to take care of anything that had the balls to take on Mewtwo. However, if that's not to your liking, you could always use Recover, yes, Recover, to regain any lost potential HP. And if your psychic attacks aren't landing acceptable damage, you can always use the, drumroll please, Amnesia! Yep, Mewtwo can learn Amnesia. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where I draw the line, declaring Mewtwo the most overpowered Pokemon of Generation 1. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Twitch for an even bigger dose of Mandles. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Have an awesome day, and until next time, I'm Mandles. Peace.